What is going on out there, everybody? I hope you are doing exceptionally well on this admittedly cloudy and freezing day, but I'm inside working hard for you, so no worries there. I've got a new piece of equipment to show you. It's small, it's simple, but man, is it effective. Let's jump right into it. Alright, so this is the box as it arrives. Nice and simple, white box here, equipped. And this is just the 5-in-1. They've got a few different options. This is the one that suited my needs. I gotta say the packaging on this is quite impressive. It's just nice, high quality packaging. But you know, you just get a really basic, this is what everything is, piece of paper in here, as well as the unit itself. And you can see right there, little laser etch, their brand name. And the whole thing is encased in so much more foam than it really needs to be. And then you've got your little cable coming around the back there. So this is just nice foam, and this is just paper to offset it. They almost certainly could have minimized this packaging a little bit more, but as it is, it's quite a nice presentation. So the cable, I'm not super duper impressed with, just right off the bat, just because it's already kind of crinkly right around this area, and I'm just kind of hoping that's going to hold up over time. I wish it was braided, but I always wish they're braided when they're not braided. You know, it is what it is. So I think this thing was a grand total of $17 or something like that. Like, I'm already impressed by how well it was packaged for how inexpensive it was. All right, so getting right down to it here. This is running a USB-C type connector, but it is not USB 3.1. It is only running USB 3.0, so that's 5 gigabit per second connection. You have got 3 standard USB-A, USB 3 connections there, 5 gigabits per second a piece, and it does have power, but it only has power enough for a single 2.5-inch drive externally, or a solid-state drive. If you plug in more than one that require power and you don't have external power, they're gonna start freaking out. They'll start turning off. One will turn off, the other will turn on. They'll just kind of alternate, and it's not going to be a good time. So definitely just keep in mind this thing can handle a single external drive powering it. If you have multiple drives and they have their own power, you can certainly obviously use them, because at that point they're just being used for data and not for power. Yeah, it's not going to fast charge your phone or anything like that. I think it's a 5 amp. Of course, we also have our micro SD and our SD, which is the reason I bought this one specifically. I'm really hoping that the reader is faster than my current little just kind of plastic no-name USB 3 reader that I always keep plugged in to either my keyboard or my monitor. This little guy right there, it does the trick. It's got the SD and the micro SD as well, but the speeds on it are nothing to write home about. Hopefully these ones will be a little bit improved. I don't know how much better they can be, seeing as it's running on the same standard, but we're gonna see. It looks very Apple-y, just because of it's kind of the edges, just the finish on it. It looks very Apple-y, and I'm sure that's what they were going for. They were aimed at the Apple crowd, but it's going to be plugged into a PC. So, a couple of caveats here. Other than the power, this thing will not read a hard drive over 4 terabytes. It's just something to keep in mind. Keep your external drives at or under 4 terabytes if you're going to be plugging them into this hub here. And also, we cannot read the SD and the micro SD simultaneously, so you're gonna have to pick and choose between those. So much like my other hub, this will read an SD card as well as your USB devices simultaneously. The only things that you can't mix and match are these two, because they are running on the same channel. So if you plug 2 things into here, it's gonna recognize whichever one you plug in first, but not the other. And you may have issues on both if you do that. So just choose one or the other, and you should be ready to rock. So I'm going to test the data transfer speeds of the same file using this SD card reader as well as the USB. And the USB that I have down below here, that I showed you guys before. So we're gonna see if this SD card reader is any faster than my little cheapo guy down there, even though this is pretty cheap too, 20 bucks. But we're gonna see if this is any faster, and we're going to also check those ports, see how they function as well. The whole thing should operate at 5 gigabit. It's USB 3, so that's the standard. Let's make sure it's up to snuff. Okay, so I grabbed my SD card from my camera here, and I'm going to transfer this 21 gig 4K video file from the SD card over to my desktop, and we're going to get it first in my cheapo USB 3 adapter here so I can see a baseline, and then we'll move it up to the new adapter and see if we've got any improvement whatsoever. Even if we don't, at least we will be able to see what kind of speeds we're working with. So 21 gigs, your marker set, go. Now the reason I actually went with a larger file is because sometimes the speed will start extremely high and then dip way down until just you're getting a couple megabytes a second here. It looks like we're going to stay pretty strong at 24, almost 25, but not quite hitting 25. All right, if we finish that up in right around 13 minutes or so, it stayed right at that 25.3, 25.6 kind of mark, except for a couple spikes in there. So now we've got our baseline. So now I'm gonna throw it up to the new adapter and see if we can get any variation in that, or if that's just the speed we're gonna get. All right, here we are, same file, 21 gigs, and copy. Oh no. It's so much faster. Why have I been wasting my life with a slow adapter? Oh my god. It's almost 4 times faster right off the bat here. Oh dear god. How many hours of my life could I have back if I hadn't had to wait for crap to copy? All right, so that was wonderfully fast. That took about 3.5 minutes. You saw at the end there, it did a massive plummet in speed. So that there is some sort of cache being filled before that. So luckily, this was a pretty big file, and it still did it in 3.5 minutes. And it seems like maybe at the 18 gig, something like that mark, is when it fell off a little bit. But I mean, 3.5 minutes compared to 13.5, I'll take it. That's fantastic. So I'm going to do one little experiment real quick. I'm going to plug my 5 terabyte drive into it and see if the advertisement on the box is incorrect. Maybe it'll read it. Fingers crossed, I guess. And plug the... Okay, so we have swapped. I pulled the SD card out. I plugged in the 5 terabyte drive. So far, I heard Windows acknowledge that it exists. But yeah, it is not showing up. That is so dumb. I mean, at least they tell you on the box, right? Yeah, that's annoying. That is quite annoying. 4 terabytes just really isn't much, especially when you're working with a lot of 4K footage, especially if you're working with multiple cameras with 4K footage, which I am working with up to 3 these days. But wait! Oh! I spoke too soon! It read it. It sees it. Let's see. Yeah, 4.54 terabytes. Let's see. Let's go to something that's been uploaded because those are all compressed files. Yeah, it's reading it, just fine. We're not going to do something that big. Let's go with a 20 gigabyte, the original Crushers video above if you want to see it. I've got a new one coming up because I've got the ANC Crushers. So what are we looking at for transfer speeds here? 116, 120, 109. All right,
Alright, so that's about what you would expect from a SATA 3 standard 7200 RPM drive. Pretty sure these ones use WD blues, not WD blacks. But yeah, I mean, this is perfectly acceptable. Right around the same speed, a little bit faster than the SD card, but right there around the same speed. So that's extremely nice. So I'm definitely going to be keeping this plugged into the graphics card where it is now until my new case comes in and I get to use the new motherboard, because that does have a dedicated USB-C port on it as well. So I'll probably move up to that once the time comes. I do have a second one of these as well that's probably going to end up in the bag, and that little cheapy guy there will probably be forgotten, lost in history. But that's totally fine, because the equipped USB-C hub here is going to fulfill its job and more. So I'm definitely happy with this purchase, and I would encourage you to take a look at the link in the description below if you would like to see more from Equipped, including this hub. They've got a bunch of different USB hubs. But that is going to bring us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for joining me. If you do enjoy this content, hit the sub button. I think we're encroaching on 200 subs on this channel, which is freaking cool. Love it. We blew past 100 a little while back, and that was a landmark that was kind of we were chugging towards, and then kind of sailed right past it. So that was excellent. Little bell next to the subscribe button is going to let you know every 2 weeks when I put up a new video. I've got a lot of stuff coming up. I've got a crap ton of hardware sitting next to me here. A lot of it does need to be reviewed, but a lot of it is for a special build that I have coming up here, and one big chunk of it is something I've never actually had my hands on before. It was very expensive, so look forward to that, because it was very expensive. And it's going to make me very happy once I've got it all up and running. So leave me a comment in the description below. Let me know what you are using to transfer all of your camera files. If you are frustrated with slow speeds, then definitely click that link in the description below, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a wonderful day, night, evening, weekend, whatever. Peace out.